jontheroofer.com.
The following is a paid program. The opinions are those of the hosts and guests and not necessarily those of the station or its management.
All right, folks, good afternoon. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show, here from the Box Drop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. You can join the conversation over the next hour anytime, 508-871-7000, 508-871-7000. You can also text us on a text line at 617-297-8388 or email textjoe on the radio at gmail.com. Obviously, we're live streaming on the TuneIn app as well, so you can punch WCRN, take us anywhere, and tell Alexa to play WCRN. She'll do that, no questions asked. You can reach the show off air at joemshow@gmail.com. We're also broadcasting or streaming the show on multiple platforms, our social media pages, so Facebook, Joe Mangi, M-A-N-G-I, Joe Mangi Show, Twitter account, same thing. YouTube, the Joe Mangiacotti Show, my LinkedIn page, and even Twitch TV all have the show currently. So several ways to get the streaming and to participate in the show. Again, at 508-871-7000. Hey, Jazz. Jazz is running the board, flying the board today. Good morning or good afternoon. Still doing that?
How are you, Joe?
Good. I got to flip. I still do the early morning Saturday, Sunday, and I got to flip Monday. It's afternoon by the time I get here.
You'll get there.
It's November weather, man. Right? The temperature's expected to be colder now. It's just not happening. Speaking, what's going on in Kentucky? Well, actually, Midwest. It ripped through. You've been hearing it in the news. I'm sure you're seeing it in the news. I watched Governor Andy Beshear this morning. He got choked up a little bit. I mean, this is the devastating tornado E3, which means winds at points can go 170 miles an hour or more, which it's just the power of Mother Nature is just nothing to mess with. So they're saying at least 70 dead. He had a number of about 80. And at one point, their estimated number went down. And they're hoping it doesn't continue to rise. So 6 people in the Amazon building were killed in the storm, and 6 are missing. But several got out. A lot got out or safe. They had the tornado warning, and then they have areas to go, which they follow through. There was an Amazon spokeswoman on yesterday. I was watching her, and she said, the sirens went off, and people did what they were supposed to do. They headed, but this thing ripped a metal roof right off, and 40-foot cement walls came down. So it caused devastation of the building that they did not expect was going to happen. At least, so 6 people in the warehouse. Illinois took a straight hit too. 4 people in Tennessee. The storm killed 80-mile-an-hour winds there, killed 4 people, 1 person killed and 2 injured in Missouri town in St. Louis, near St. Louis, I should say. There was one woman was pinned under a mobile home in Tennessee. Forecasters predict more inclement weather over this weekend. And of course, all of the search and rescue are now they are classifying it recovery. So when it's classified search and rescue, you're assuming you're still going to find people alive. When it switches to the term and they say we're in recovery mode, they don't expect to find any human bodies anymore, that it's a recovery at that point. The pictures are just devastating. I'm sure you've seen them. So dozens of people still fear dead across the communities in the Midwest and South, digging through the rubble. So you're going to see, the president kicked in for financial aid, federal government aid. You're going to see, they're telling you check your insurance. There'll be a lot of FEMA money available right now. There are hundreds, if not thousands of people displaced from home, right? So they've got to figure out where to house people. So they're doing their best to open up whatever centers. They're opening parks and campgrounds, getting electricity to these places. They're asking for volunteers. You're going to see, I know Massachusetts is sending contingent of people down, and you'll see contractors swing into action from all over the country, right? They're going to head there now because contractors will make a fortune in the next 6 months to a year. I mean, they've got to literally rebuild just about everything. You see those pictures and you're looking at every direction. Miles are just level. You can see mountains and things you couldn't if Friday afternoon, if you stood in downtown in some of these towns, you couldn't see outside of the downtown area. Now you can see for 40 miles because there. So it will be a total rebuild going on. All right. Anyway, Kentucky, prayers and good energy out to them. It's a horrible situation down there. The thing is, right, before you even were looking at what could possibly be the damage in the body count and this kind of thing, we're being told this is all climate control or climate change is responsible for this. And it's like, really, this is not. Let's not do this. It's like the ones, they start tweeting immediately if there's a mass shooting or hostage situation or something happens, right? Gun control right away. I mean, you don't even know what the facts are. You don't even know who the person is. Sometimes people, you need to just to be in the moment and have some empathy and sympathy for what's happening and put your politics up on the board for a moment. Put a pin in it, as they say. All right, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. I guess another piece of bad news before we get into some of the politics and the things here. This is a story out of Kansas, and this is absolutely heartbreaking and disgusting because a Kansas City police officer's German Shepherd puppy was shot, killed, and beheaded and left in the yard. So a 3-month-old puppy belonging to a Kansas police officer was shot and beheaded in what investigators said was a targeted attack because of the owner's career in law enforcement. The officer with the Parsons Police Department was off duty when she reported that her German Shepherd puppy, his name was Ranger, had been killed. And she says, I cannot even describe my feelings of disdain for the person responsible. I'm an avid dog lover, and as I have made it clear to the community over the years that I have been here, I have rescued 2 dogs, one that I adopted from the local shelter. And the level of cowardice, the police chief, Robert Spink, said, the level of cowardice that would lead someone to kill a little puppy named Ranger is just astonishing. And this is absolutely beyond pale. This is disgusting. So he was led into a fenced backyard in the morning and found in the afternoon around 2:00, lying dead in the yard with his head severed off. And this is just wrong, people. It's disgusting and wrong. And what is the subhuman that's going to do this? Because you have an issue with the person's career in law enforcement. On what level? Like, where does that make any sense at all to anybody? It's just sometimes, I don't know. We gotta fix some things here in this country for folks. We're going to take a break a little early here, and then we're going to come back on the other side. We'll continue here with the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Boxtrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation, folks. 508-871-7000.
Cheryl Ann Gengel co-founded the Be Like Brit Foundation, founded to honor the memory of her daughter, Brittany Gengel, who died tragically in the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, along with approximately 300,000 others. To honor her life and her commitment to those less fortunate, the Be Like Brit Foundation works towards fulfilling their vision to raise the next generation of leaders in Haiti. Please take a moment to visit belikebrit.org to learn more about our mission and to see what your help has accomplished and will do in the future. Make a difference. Be Like Brit.
We know why you're awake. Your child is about to get their driver's license. Levante's Auto School offers 1-week driving programs to help make sure your child stays safe and focused behind the wheel.
877 Drive Ed. Who's Ed?
That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Learn to drive safely and efficiently. Visit one of our 5 locations throughout Massachusetts. Click Levante'sAutoSchool.com.
Levante's Auto School shows you how to learn the rules and keep your cool. 877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Hey folks, Joe Mangiacotti here, and I have recently purged and refreshed with new furniture and, most importantly, a new bed. We spend about a third of our life on our mattresses, and it's so vital we have the right one, and we don't break the bank to do that. I first bought a mattress from the big store the brothers used to own, and a power base that moved the head and feet, and then I met John, and I checked out his showroom at 50 Main Street in Ashland and online at boxdropmiddlesex.com, and ended up with a better mattress, a power base that also heats and massages, all for less than half of what I was going to spend at the other place. Boxdrop is a discount mattress store, and John specializes in clearance and closeouts, and he buys directly from the manufacturer with a low overhead and just family employees, passing the savings onto you, and you can see it reflected in the price every day. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or call John on his cell. This is his cell number, 508-579-9303. That's 508-579-9303. And you can find John on Facebook at Boxdrop Middlesex. John loves referrals, and this is the best referral I've given so far this year. Dropboxmiddlesex.com.
I want to tell you what Cantiani Insurance has been able to do for me and Teddy. We stopped in to see Paul Sr. and the great staff at 318 Plantation Street. They've been handling my car and business insurance for years. Teddy was making his way around the office, and they let me know they now offer pet insurance. For a fraction of what one visit to the vet was for Teddy, they could cover him for a whole year. I know you treat your furry family members like any other family member, and as well as I do Teddy. The professional staff at Cantiani's has been providing courteous service for over 40 years, with integrity and personalized service, making sure that your insurance actually protects you and your family. With 2 locations, the 318 Plantation Street in Worcester and East Douglas Insurance Agency, located at 306 Main Street in Douglas. For home, auto, business insurance, and now pet insurance, click CantianiAgency.com or call 508-791-2088. 508-791-2088.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388, or email textjoeontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. His tears cure cancer. Too bad he never cries. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second segment of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Boxdrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. I'm Joe Mangiacotti, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. So the Omicron virus, or variant, if you will, to this, right, came out of South Africa. They do their due diligence. They kind of let everybody know this. Seems like the world overreacts. Seems like we certainly overreacted. Joe Biden puts in travel restrictions, which, of course, Trump did the exact same thing. And he had a bunch of choice names to call him, but it doesn't apply to Uncle Joe. Now, the UK says that at least one person has died from Omicron. Now, the thing here, before you start getting crazy about this, folks, everything tells us that the Omicron virus, although it's extremely contagious, it's a lot weaker version of the COVID-19, but it still is going to cause your body to react to it. It's going to build the antibodies. It's going to give you defense, what we call natural immunity or natural vaccination. This is actually a very good thing. It's nature's vaccination, it's kind of called, because it will spread through the planet and give everybody a taste of it, enough for us to build up defense to it. And that's a good thing in the big picture of things, because this administration and the left in this country is they're totally ignoring the conversation, the part of this that needs to be had, and that is people who have had COVID-19 have natural antibodies and defenses. They're not being counted into anything. They have gone power hungry with these restrictions and mask wearing. So now they say at least one person died from an Omicron variant COVID-19 in the UK. Prime Minister Boris Johnson confirmed. Now, he said, sadly, yes, Omicron produced hospitalizations, and sadly, at least one patient has been confirmed to have died with Omicron. Now, this is where the healthy skepticism that you need to have with the media and with anything that's out there. As I said the other day, every time a story comes out, I assume it's absolutely false and work backwards from it. It says he's died with Omicron. Doesn't say died because of Omicron. And we saw this happen throughout the pandemic. People who had other issues and died, who would have died anyway, but happened to be positive with COVID-19, were counted as COVID-19 deaths. So I'm asking in this situation, it says have died with Omicron. What did they die of? How did they, and would they have died whether or not the Omicron virus was present in their body? Those are the questions, and the media's not asking this. So they lead you in the headline to believe that Omicron killed somebody in the UN. But when you read the article, it says, no, they died with it, not because of it. So what's the truth there? And isn't it kind of over? Here's the thing on this, folks, right? Now we have a Democratic governor, right? He declared COVID-19 emergency is over. Says it's your own fault if you're unvaccinated and you get sick. And isn't that kind of what a lot of people have been saying, is stop mandating this? And it's not that I'm anti-vax or I won't get vaccinations, because most of us, we've gotten vaccinations our entire lives, haven't we? Most of us, we take the flu shot every year. That's not the point. It's the mandate. The being threatened with government action, being threatened with imprisonment or rights being taken away if you don't inject something in your body because the government decided you need to. That's what people are having a problem with. I thought the line would have been a lot further back, or maybe forward, I guess, depending how you're looking at it. But if you told me a year ago or 2 years ago that people would be locked down in their houses because the government told you to do it, that you would be losing your job unless you had a medical procedure done, that you would have to share your medical status just to you'd show papers. I mean, the concept of you need to show your papers, you need a vaccination passport or any kind of papers to even walk around the street or go into a restaurant or a venue of any type. You said, that's crazy. What are you talking about? This isn't 30s Germany. This is the United States of America in 2020, at that point, 2019 or 2020. It doesn't happen. Yeah. I thought the line would have been a lot further to the beginning of when this all started. So Jared Polis, now he's the Democrat governor, and he declared during the interview that he had just the other day, he said the emergency is over and that he won't be implementing another statewide mask mandate in response to the spread of Omicron, explaining that people unvaccinated at this point, and he has a point, anyone who's not vaccinated today has decided not to be vaccinated. You can get the vaccination anyway. I think if you go to Lowe's, you can get it on the way in. I mean, it's available everywhere. So if you want to be vaccinated, you can have the vaccination. You can have the booster and everything else. So that's a good point. And it's true. If you're not vaccinated today, you chose not to get vaccinated for whatever your reasons are. And those are your reasons. And they should stay between you and your physician. So whatever it is, it's your own darn fault. Yes, absolutely. But we also have so much better understanding of this virus than we did a year ago, even 8-9 months ago. And we have treatments that we didn't have when this came onto the scene. Now, here's the thing about this. There will never be zero tolerance or zero. We will never reach the point of zero with the coronavirus. It's on the planet. Just like a lot of other viruses are on the planet, just like the HIV virus is on the planet. And after billions of dollars and years of research, there really isn't a vaccination, but there's the PrEP pill that people take. And even if they contract it, they take medication to the point it's called what they call undetectable. And they're going to die of old age, not HIV. And that's what we do. So it's on the planet. Someone created this in a lab. It got out into the world. So we got to deal with it as a human race. It's on the planet, people. It's not going to be removed from the planet. So now we deal with and live with illness and danger and accidents and addictions every day. People will die from gunfire in inner cities, not by legal licensed gun holders and things, but by criminals and criminal elements. But that's an uncomfortable conversation that politicians have. They They like to say it broadly and in terms of going after guns, law-abiding guns and law-abiding citizens, that type of thing. But we live every day we get in our cars and we drive 2-3 ton vehicles around, some of us very poorly, and some of us too tired or fatigued to should be driving. And of course, we have those that are under influences that shouldn't be behind a wheel. And we live with that danger every day. So what I'm saying is, the COVID-19 virus is on the planet. We need to just go back to living our lives. Vaccinations are plentiful and ample for anybody that wants one. And if you should contract the virus, there are multiple ways of dealing with it. Ivermectin or the monoclonal antibodies. There are, the pill is coming out. You take it, you take the pill if you get contracted. There are ways to handle it. What I found interesting is the surveys that are done, and when it's asked to people who identify as Democrat or on the left, what's the percentage of going to the hospital if you contract COVID-19? It's in the high 40s, 46, 47% assume you're hospitalized. And if you're hospitalized, it's bad, you have a problem there, right? No, it's 3%, 4%. Even Bill Maher came out and said, Democrats have done a horrible job in getting the facts and the truth out because they won't allow any conversation. I constantly get crap on my Facebook page about community standards because I ask a question about the virus, or I will post or share something, and an MD, and this kills me, only the medical doctors, only those medical degrees of people that agree with those at these big tech companies are allowed to be posted. You can have a medical degree, doctorate of medicine, and maybe even be at the top of your class opposed to some of these other doctors. But because of the politics of it, you're removed, you're silenced. Happens all the time. So this is one of the reasons that the people on the left here, because they only watch MSNBC and CNN, right? They're only watching their own kind in their bubble that they live in. So they think this panic porn that they're constantly seeing is accurate and true. And they're not hearing the other medical professionals who are talking about the masking and the studies in that, and it really doesn't do anything at all, by the way. And the fact that if you're healthy and young and you have no preconditions, you're not fighting off cancer, leukemia, or you have a organ transplant, these are all major things that would be a big problem for you folks. But you're not you're in more danger of so many other things statistically than you are of being either seriously ill or death from COVID-19. But they won't have these conversations. So the understanding of this is way out of whack. Way out of whack. So Governor Polis here is saying, hey, it's over. Those who get sick, it's almost entirely their own fault, their darn fault, he says, actually. I don't want to say that nobody will get the virus if they're vaccinated, but it's very rare. Just put in perspective, about 1,400 people hospitalized, less than 200 or 16% are vaccinated. And many of them are older or have other conditions. 84% of the people in the hospitals, in his hospitals in Kentucky, are unvaccinated, and they absolutely had every chance. That's true. That's true. So he says the emergency is over. Public health and public health officials don't tell people what to wear. It's just not their job. And that's just very true, folks. But we're going to take a break here at the bottom of the hour on the Joe Mangiacotti Show, the Monday edition from the Boxtrot Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. Jump in the conversation anytime at 508-871-7000, 508-871-7000. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. Stick with us. Back on the other side, folks.
This is Full Service Radio, AM 830, WCRN, Worcester, Metro West.
At least 64 people have died from the devastating tornadoes that hit Kentucky. At the White House,
I intend to travel to Kentucky on Wednesday.
President Biden says the government will be there to help.
With each passing day, the human impact of this devastation is the depth of the losses are becoming more and more apparent.
At least 14 others have died in 4 other states. The president says they will all get assistance.
The thing they most need are power, water, communication systems to get back to some sense of being able to communicate with one another as rapidly as they possibly can.
Time magazine named Tesla CEO Elon Musk its Person of the Year. Time described Musk as a clown, genius, edgelord, visionary, industrialist, and showman. Musk is also founder and CEO of space exploration company SpaceX and recently passed Amazon's Jeff Bezos as the world's wealthiest person.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning. I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and
Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1776. Retirement is within reach.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Smear, and here's the latest Boston 25 weather on Radio 830 WCRN. Looking good out there this afternoon with some increasing sunshine and highs in the lower 50s for today. Temperatures running, in fact, about 10 degrees above average. It will be just a tad breezy at times. Forecast stays real quiet for the next rain isn't expected until probably late Wednesday night out there. I'm Sherry Spear, and you've been here Boston 5 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
Another marvelous Monday in New England. I'm Ted A. Here are some historic facts that happened on December 13th. In 1636, the Massachusetts Bay Colony organizes militia that is today recognized as the founding of the U.S. National Guard. In 1920, the International Court of Justice is established in The Hague. In 1961, the Beatles sign a formal agreement to be managed by Brian Epstein. In 2000, Al Gore finally delivers concession speech. In 2003, Saddam Hussein is captured during Operation Red Dawn near Tikrit, Iraq. In 2007, the Mitchell Report lists the names of 89 baseball players that use steroids and hormones. The WCRN News is brought to you by John the Roofer, a leader in the roofing and home improvements business for more than 70 years. Call 866-906-ROOF or go to the internet and see johnTheRoofer.com.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388, or email textjoeontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. He brings a knife to a gunfight, just to make the odds even. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, welcome back. The third segment here of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Shop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. Like that jazz, that's Teddy up over the console, right? Teddy wants to sit up on the counter. He's not content with just being in his bed in the chair anymore.
No,
It's a
now
new
he
thing.
just wants to be right in the middle of everything.
Yeah. And half the time his butt leans into the keyboard and changes the screen in front of me. But that's okay. Teddy Good Pup in studio as usual. Just he wants a new location. That's all, folks. All right, 508-871-7000. You know, I'm glad Elon Musk got the Man of the Year. I think he deserved it. I'm happy with that. The guy's he's a genius. It's phenomenal. The stuff that he's doing, and he's on the spectrum, right? He's autistic. Obviously highly functioning. But good for him. They finally, they don't always get that right? They don't always make the right choice with that Man of the Year thing. We go back and look at the history of it. From the American Thinker, before I go to the phones, just a great article, the American Thinker, about Fauci and COVID, by the way. Alas, the real world, we have Grinch, who is far more malevolent than in person of Dr. Fauci, who seemed determined to steal Christmas this year. He is calling for family, and this is crazy, right? He is calling for families to require that guests be vaccinated before participating in holiday cheer. Who's going to stand at the front door and tell that weird uncle, you just got to show his paperwork before he can come in? Yet he has a keg of beer under one arm and an open beer in the other hand. I mean, he's gone so far as to suggest that mom and dad demand to see grandma's vaccination card before letting her in. I don't know. He's just citing facts and figures. Don't forget, he is science. He told us that. To attack him or criticize him is to criticize science, because he is science. He's just citing facts and figures with solemn pomposity, trying to convince Americans that without vaccinations, we are all in for another round of infections after the holidays. Now, this is after I just spent 16 minutes on pretty much, folks, it's over. The pandemic, the war, it should be over. And you stop watching the panic porn and buying into that. Seek out, even despite big tech's efforts to censor it all out and to Jedi mind control you here. There are the number of people who have contracted COVID-19 and therefore have natural immunities is extremely high. The number of vaccinated people are very high. Now we have the Omicron virus, which is very weak but very contagious. COVID has a death rate of just about 1%. So COVID does not generally cause serious illness in people without comorbidities such as lung problems, heart disease, cancer, weakened immune system. Obesity has been a problem in people that are extremely overweight. Such people could also become seriously ill and die if they caught the flu. As I said 10, 20 minutes ago, we live every day with illnesses, viruses, addictions, and dangers that are far more dangerous and likely to kill us than at this stage COVID-19 would, folks. 508-871-7000. Let's go to the phone. Who's up first? We've got Ken. Hey, Ken. Thanks for holding on, man. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Monday edition of the show.
Good afternoon, Joe, and my German accent. Papers, please.
Yeah, I know, right? 2 years ago, if I told you just some of this stuff, that you would have to carry around papers that could have to be shown on demand to enter a restaurant or any kind of entertainment venue, to fly on an airplane, that occasionally the government was going to lock you down and you weren't allowed to go to work or leave your house. If I told you any of this stuff a couple of years ago, would you have laughed at me and told me this isn't Germany 30s or this is America?
You're absolutely correct. But before I cross back to COVID news, I wanted to first hit on the first item that you mentioned as far as the tornadoes ripping primarily through Kentucky, and suggest that your listeners consider for a charity, Mercury One, headed by Glenn Beck. This serves domestic tragedies like this one, and handled many in the past. Follows the Nazarene Fund, who saved thousands of U.S. lives in Afghanistan. They do great work, and unfortunately, many of the traditional charities that we've gone through have gone woke, like the Salvation Army. So you have to be very careful who you give to, who may have an entirely different things that they cherish that are different than what we cherish.
You know what I find interesting when it comes down to some of these NGOs, non-government operations or agencies here, that organizations, when you get to Florida, you got Ron DeSantis, who's saying to these NGOs in there, if you're participating in these midnight or 2 a.m. flights, and yes, Jen Psaki, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock is the middle of the night. Stop with that, semantics. Middle of the night flights, and you're putting them up in Salvation Army, Catholic Charities. These people are taking the government money, which, again, if you remember, folks, I told you way back when all this stimulus money and all this money was being funneled down, you got to look at this from a 30,000-foot view. That's not isolated things. It's all going to connect. And all that money that was passed in those bills, getting down to these NGOs, was going to be because they knew they were going to have this influx of illegals coming in the southern border that needed to be distributed throughout the state, the country. And that's exactly what's going on. And now Ron DeSantis is saying, if you're part of this, one of these NGOs, your license to do business in the state of Florida, gone. And we're going to hold you financially responsible for the people you're bringing in and the debt that you're incurring here. And it's good for him. Let's see some other governors stand up, because they are doing this they are doing it literally under the cover of dark, with transporting these people around. So these NGOs, kudos to what you're saying. Pay attention to who is getting your money and what they're using it for. And if you give it to one of these charities that are spending more money on illegals than they would be on rebuilding American citizens' homes, in churches and businesses and infrastructures in the Midwest, I should just call it the Midwest, then you have to think twice about writing that check, don't you, Ken?
Yeah, and just pick up on this topic as you just described with what's going on in Florida. I know your caller Joanne suggests a great idea. Why shouldn't Jeff Deal make that a commitment in running for the Republican governor's race in Massachusetts? Unfortunately, DeSantis is able to do what he's doing in Florida because Republicans control the House and Senate. That's just not going to be the case in Massachusetts, but, we can only hope.
Yeah. But, I mean, trying it is nothing wrong with trying it. And doing it and getting beat down. The point is, it's got to, I mean, and this is the thing, right? These what's the term? There's a term that I heard about these, pajama wearing, basement dwelling mama boys on the internet, that whatever it is, the pajama brigade.
The trolls.
Yeah, the trolls and stuff on the media, right? The problem is, everybody, including prominent actors and celebrities, sometimes are afraid to speak their mind about things because they will get canceled and attacked. And then you got somebody like Dave Chappelle with FU money out there, who's just doing it anyway. And then when he had the last thing he did, right, was like sold out in, what was it? What's the outdoor thing in California, right? He had the big thing. Somebody will text it or whatever.
Hollywood Bowl, maybe?
Maybe it was a Hollywood Bowl. I mean, he sold out. And he opens the show saying, if this is canceled, baby, bring it on. Yeah. Because he made about $600,000 that night, right?
Well, and he had just won the Mark Twain Award, last year?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I applaud him for that. And I think people like the Jerry Seinfelds of the world, who have FU money too, should be stepping up for those younger comedians without that much influence that they have and power that they have, and let comics get back to being comics and not afraid to, do that craft. And comics have always been the medium that we have on the edge. And that, I think they need to get back to that. Ken and Richard, you need to hold for a second. I have to take a break. Mondays are a little different than the weekend shows, so I'm a little more tied down to what I have to do on the clock. So we're going to take a quick break here from the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Drop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. We'll be back on the other side with Ken and Richard in that order when we come back. Thank you. Stick with us.
I want to tell you what Cantiani Insurance has been able to do for me and Teddy. We stopped in to see Paul Sr. and the great staff at 318 Plantation Street. They've been handling my car and business insurance for years. Teddy was making his way around the office, and they let me know they now offer pet insurance. For a fraction of what one visit to the vet was for Teddy, they could cover him for a whole year. I know you treat your furry family members like any other family member, and as well as I do Teddy. The professional staff at Cantiani has been providing courteous service for over 40 years with integrity and personalized service, making sure that your insurance actually protects you and your family. With 2 locations, the 318 Plantation Street in Worcester and East Douglas Insurance Agency, located at 306 Main Street in Douglas. For home, auto, business insurance, and now pet insurance, click CantianiAgency.com or call 508-791-2088. 508-791-2088.
Testimonials stream in daily describing the many benefits found with CBD Bionaturals. One benefit is improved sleep. During sleep, your immune system releases proteins called cytokines, needed to fight infections, inflammation, and stress. That's right, proteins you need to fight infections, inflammation, and stress just when you need it most. With 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Go to CBDBioNow.com because now is the time to improve and protect your health. That's CBDBioNow.com.
Hey folks, Joe Mangiacotti here, and I have recently purged and refreshed with new furniture and, most importantly, a new bed. We spend about a third of our life on our mattresses, and it's so vital we have the right one and we don't break the bank to do that. I first bought a mattress from the big store the brothers used to own and a power base that moved the head and feet, and then I met John, and I checked out his showroom at 50 Main Street in Ashland and online at boxdropmiddlesex.com and ended up with a better mattress, a power base that also heats and massages, all for less than half of what I was going to spend at the other place. Box Drop is a discount mattress store, and John specializes in clearance and closeouts, and he buys directly from the manufacturer with a low overhead and just family employees, passing the savings on to you, and you can see it reflected in the price every day. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or call John on his cell. This is his cell number, 508-579-9303. That's 508-579-9303. And you can find John on Facebook at Box Drop Middlesex. John loves referrals, and this is the best referral I've given so far this year. Dropboxmiddlesex.com.
We know why you're awake. Your child is about to get their driver's license. Levante's Auto School offers 1-week driving programs to help make sure your child stays safe and focused behind the wheel.
877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Learn to drive safely and efficiently. Visit one of our 5 locations throughout Massachusetts. Click LevantesAutoSchool.com.
Levante's Auto School shows you how to learn the rules and keep your cool. Call 877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388, or email textjoe on the radio at gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, welcome back to the fourth and final segment of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Drop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. I'm Joe Mangiacotti, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Ken, jump right back on to finish up. Sorry about that. We're on a tighter clock on the weekdays here.
Yes, Joe. Thanks for mentioning Richard's on the line. I'll be brief on my great Omicron news.
Okay.
Watching the Worldometer, yesterday's numbers in South Africa, they had over 38,000, almost 39,000 new cases. Number of deaths, 21. That's 1 in 1,800.
So my question in that, like I posed with the UK story, are those people who died with the Omicron virus in them, or because of the Omicron virus?
So here's the thing: some of them are still Delta.
Okay.
In fact, the latest I'd heard within this weekend, where there were only 10 total deaths counted in South Africa, and most of them were due to other issues, as you've described. So it's just amazing, terrific news. Literally, this 21 count is about what they had for a daily count a month ago before Omicron hit. So it's having little to no impact.
Well, this is the point. The Omicron variant is not deadly, anywhere near as deadly as COVID-19 or Delta, and much more contagious, which it may seem counterintuitive, folks, but that's actually good news because it means it will spread through the population on the planet, give everybody a little immunity because it makes our bodies create antibodies for it, and it moves on. Again, it's on the planet. We're never going to get to zero. We have to live with it on the planet because some jamokes fooled around in a lab and it got out. We can't undo that. But we can go back to our lives as it has been. And we don't shut everything down for other things that are less dangerous, Ken.
Exactly, like the cold or the flu. So when we enter 2022, we're going to return far closer to normal. It's going to be wonderful. God bless us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Elon Musk can get us to Mars and the moon a lot quicker if we just get back to work.
You got it. Let's see what Richard has to say.
Absolutely. Ken, thank you for the call. Always appreciate it. All right, folks, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation here on the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show. Richard in New Hampshire, thanks for holding on and being patient. Hey, Richard.
Hi, Joe. Yeah, a couple quick points. First of all, I mean, if this was such a wonderful, marvelous drug that they're putting in us, why does Pfizer want to seal their ingredients for 55 years? Can you run that by me?
Oh, the freedom. Yeah. Didn't they come out the Freedom of Information Act? They're like, 55 years.
55 years.
Yeah. I don't think so. That it doesn't work that way, guys. It's got to move. I understand bureaucracy slow. 55 years. I mean, that's like Kennedy shooting.
Still classified.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is, I mean, if this stuff is such a great product, right? Israel is the most heavily vaccinated country in the world, right? They have more cases of the virus than any other country in the world, and not only that, they're on shot number 4. Imagine that. Not 3, 4.
I was hanging out with Peter Blue yesterday because I was here till noon in the station, and we're talking. And I said about this when the vaccination cards came out. I, like many people, posed the question: why are there so many spots on this? If this is supposed to be the vaccination to deal with this, why are there several lines? Like there's 8 spaces for other shots. It's like what? So are you telling us back when you came out with the first vaccination, you knew you were going to force us through coercion and fear to get several more vaccinations?
More. There's never going to be enough, Joe. I'm telling you that right now. And another thing that I want to correct, right, that a lot of people out there have corrected. They said 130,000 people died from the virus in Italy. Remember that when Italy was
right? Italy, right? We were told Italy was like off the chart, that the doctors were making choices on who lived and who died because who got the ventilators, and they were just pretty much committing people to death. Had to make these choices every day. That's what we were being told in the early days.
Then they backed it down to 4,000, from 130 to 4,000, Joe. And who knows? I mean, right now, if you're getting run over by a bus, you're getting run over by a motorcycle. It's COVID. You know why? Because if they can get you in the hospital and they can get you as a COVID patient, I think they get $39,000 per patient. That's not bad money.
Yeah, there was a big amount of there was a big, and that's why a lot of times they were told that anyone that has COVID positive in their bloodstream counted as a COVID-19 death. So when we ask these questions now, and we're very skeptical about being told that that Britain has one Omicron death, and then you read the article and it says this person died with it, not because of it, then you have to say, well, then exactly what is the cause of death? And did it matter whether or not they had this particular variant in their body? And it's a shame, but we've come to this point where we're just have to be distrustful of the media.
I don't trust the government. Period.
And the government, and both of them. You got it. Absolutely, 100%.
Joe, I told you when I was 18 years old, I was in the Navy, and I had to go get my 6 shots all at once, 3 in the right arm, 3 in the left arm. I was 18 years old, and everybody else there with me was either 19 or 20 years old. There was about 300 of us that ended up in the hospital with pneumonia. Now, come on. You can't tell me, Joe, that the admirals and all the doctors there, they don't know what they were doing to me and everybody else.
Yeah, it's a statistical anomaly that would happen. Yeah, of course it was.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're all healthy. 18, 19-year-olds, we're at the peak of our health, right?
You got it.
And then we all ended up in the hospital with pneumonia.
That's the other thing. Look at all these servicemen who are, getting in trouble because they don't want to put this vibe. Because again, folks, they don't allow the discussion about the side effects and some of the negative results of getting it, especially if you're young and healthy and you get the protein spike occurring 2 weeks afterwards, and you've got young males with these heart issues kicking in, blood clots, and it's like, this is why this has got to be a choice you make, with the consultation of your doctor. But whether it is with your doctor or not, I'm not even saying it needs to be a prerequisite that you have a consultation with your doctor. You should. That's why you have a primary care. The point is, it's your decision. It should be your decision what you're putting in your body. And if you want to put something that has recorded side effects that are everywhere from very uncomfortable to death, that should be something you do with considerable weight, and it's up to you.
But what they're doing with this show, they're hiding everything.
Well, that's it.
The
they're
news
hiding
media
it,
does not record. They don't want to record this.
and they do not allow the conversations on. So this is big tech in bed with big government saying we're not allowing this. I told you I get these notices on Facebook all the time because when I post something that comes from a doctor that they're not agreeing, that doesn't agree with what they've decided, they say it doesn't meet their community standards. I love this made up stuff. And the independent fact checker, who's paying their salary? If they're independent fact checkers, who signs their check? Whose bank account is their pay coming out of? And if it's a subsidy or shadow company, whatever, who funded that guy? Like, who's really paying these people? It's such bull.
Pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are paying for all this nonsense that we're listening to.
I'm talking about the fact checkers. That's on Facebook's and Google's payroll. They just hire these jamokes and tell them to get in there, and this is what we allow, don't allow. You got the algorithms to depend on. The algorithms will pop up, and the algorithm actually cancels you. Then it goes to a human being for review. So it get canceled before a human even knows that Facebook has taken the post off or shadow banned you before a human even knows it.
They never told us about the animals that they experimented on, did they? You know why? They all died.
No, that's a whole nother conversation.
They don't want us to know.
Yeah.
They don't want us to know that all the animals they experimented on, they all died, Joe.
Wow.
What do you think that would do to people out there who are thinking about getting the shot?
Well, animals died. People have died. People have gotten ended up in the hospital because of the vaccination. So again, go to the VAERS site. I can't say that enough, folks. Richard, I got to hold you there. I'm up against the clock.
Right. You take care.
All right, Richard. Have a good afternoon.
Jasmine, you have a great day too.
What about Teddy Goodpup? You're leaving the Teddy out. All right, folks. Before we go, I want to bring up one more thing here. Secretary Buttigieg's husband is mocking the fact that starting next month, you got to stop paying your student loan again. And I think this is really something. Okay, you got Secretary Pete with a $221,000 and change salary from Secretary of Transportation. Him and his husband, who just adopted the 2 children, and he was out of work for 2 months. Well, your tax dollars paid his salary. And the husband is now bitching about the fact that he's got to pay his student loans. And I'm thinking, really? You're mad because you think the taxpayers should eat your debts that you incurred. And not a lot of people get to have 2 homes because they sold their house in South Bend and bought a house in Lake Michigan. and then they've got a DC house. And so he posts this, he posts a meme or whatever that says, LOL, no thank you, Merry Christmas next. Because he got noticed that it says, Chasten, your student loan payments restart after January 31st, 2022. You'll soon receive a bill from your student loan servicer. It's your debt. It's your bill. Get off it. You think a lot of people have that kind of, we're out of time, by the way, folks. So that's going to wrap up Monday's edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Boxstrap Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. Take care.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue at the White House.